So you're going to an anime convention, like I said. Well, what are some ethical practices that you should do as a good congoer? Let's talk about it. Guys, so as you know, I am going to Anime Weekend Atlanta. We're actually getting ready to go today. I'm actually doing this before picking up a few of my friends, and we're going to be up there in Atlanta partying out the 4 days. If you watched the last video or listened to the podcast, I kind of went over about what anime conventions are and why I've enjoyed them and why you should go. But now this episode is going to be about, if you are going, things that you should do. And this isn't just about like, oh yeah, go have fun, because obviously, like I said, anytime you go to a Comic Con or Anime Con, if it's something that you do like, there's so much going on, you will find something. But this is more about the ethical practices. I was actually going to have one of my buddies in on this video, kind of going back and forth because we've been going for several years together. But he's actually at home getting packed right now because we're trying to hit the road and get there to get our passes so we don't have to wait in line tomorrow. But some good practices you should do, that being one of them. Make sure you guys pack well, and of course, try to get there early because on the main days, like the actual weekend, Saturday and Sunday, it's like almost like ridiculous how long the lines can get. So either pre-reg or get there in advance. All right, that's obviously a given one. Now, the more actual things that we're going to talk about, the ethics of a Comic Con, if you will. Some just good practices that I've seen and used myself, and I encourage anybody going should. A lot of these will sound like common sense, but just sometimes you'd be surprised. Of course, the first one is hygiene, and of course, that is the biggest, funniest trope of con goers don't wear deodorant. It's sadly true, and especially when you're in a dealer room with about anywhere from 1 to 10 to 20,000 people at a time, depending on the size of the con. You're right up next to people, and we know when you're not wearing deodorant, and we know when you haven't taken a shower. So please, I do encourage you to always clean yourselves. And then I would also say some people also will forget, especially cosplayers. Um, a lot of our cosplay pieces are fragile, and we don't really like to wash or clean them, but we do need to wash and clean them, even though if it's a hassle and you got to take it apart and do everything. If you're using a cosplay for multiple days in a row, of course you're getting sweat into it. All right, there. I mean, it's just normal. Even if you're in like Colorado in the mountains where it's cold and you're at a con, you're going to be on top of a ton of people. There's going to be times where it's kind of warm. You're going to sweat, especially if you're wearing like a full cosplay and you're wearing like a suit and different stuff. So definitely, I have kind of implemented in my own cosplays now to be able to wear something underneath. That way it catches most of it, and then I'm able to actually kind of dry clean the rest of the cosplay. But first, number one rule of thumb, always wear deodorant, always take a shower, and keep your clothes clean because we will smell you, and you aren't going to upset more people than them having to sit next to you in a panel and you smell terrible. So yes, wash your old butt. All right. Number two, there's going to be a lot of people cosplaying. I sadly will not be this year, but a lot of cosplayers do enjoy being appreciated for the cosplay. Love being like, at least for me, I always liked people like, oh man, not to, or like whatever. And it's cool. It's cool to be recognized. We're dressing as characters and we're recognized. However, don't be a creep about it. It's a very, very big one that you'll see people get kicked out of cons for. And it's a sad thing that has to even be iterated. One, you don't go touch up on somebody, especially somebody you don't know. You don't go just randomly grab somebody or be like, oh my gosh, I love your character. Even if it's just a gentle hug and you're not doing anything weird about it, that person doesn't know you. Give them respect. Be like, hey, I love your cosplay, like wave at them and stuff. If they're a complete douchebag, like, hey, don't talk to me, okay, that's on them. They are in a con and they're dressed up as somebody. They should know that people are going to appreciate and shout out at them. But you also have to be the person to initiate that decency of, oh, hey, I love your cosplay. Can I give you a hug, or can I take a picture with you, or whatever? That's a big one too. Do not just randomly take pictures of people. All right, that's a big deal. There's one thing if you're taking a picture from the top balcony and you're taking a picture of the entire con. All right, I mean that's pictures. But if you're zooming in on somebody and you're trying to capture a picture of their cosplay and they're obviously not posing for an audience or for pictures, have the decency to say, hey, can I take a picture of you? I really like your cosplay. That does two things. One, you're not a creep and you're not just sneaking up on people. Two, a big thing about that I've loved, because I've never had a problem with taking pictures with people. It's super cool actually, and it's a almost rewarding feeling for somebody to come up to me and ask to take a picture, because it makes me feel like I did a phenomenal job with this, that they want to take the picture and show their friends. Not all people are like that. You might run into people I have where I said, hey, I love your cosplay, can I take a picture? And they're like, no, I don't really want to have my picture taken. Cool. You'd be like, all right, well, you did a great job, and you move on, and you just move on. You enjoy your con and whatever. So if they say no, take it as a no, move on. But, a lot of times, actually 90% of the time, that's a very small percentage, they're super excited to get asked that, like almost all the time. Like they're like, oh man, yeah, and they'll like put their stuff down on the side, or they'll have you hold their bag while they take a picture. Like it's super cool. Like a lot of people are super excited, one, to be appreciated for the work they put in, and then two, just get to experience that. Like especially a lot of people who are nervous about their cosplays, that will usually 9 times out of 10 like cheer them up and make them a lot more excited about what they did. Especially you get a lot of people who are out there who will think that they didn't do a good job with something, or will just be like kind of run down a little bit. And it's super, super appreciative usually if somebody or a fan of that character also recognizes them. Especially if they're wearing a very, very minute role of a character, or somebody like obviously not an obviously main character. Like if they're wearing some type of side character that only like a small amount of the population knows, and you know it, you would be surprised how excited that person will get. Oh my gosh. I was trying to think of a good example. There was one time one of the guys dressed up and he was just asking cosplayers questions, and nobody was realized that he was cosplaying except for me and a few other people. And he was cosplaying as the guy who does the journalism in Fairy Tale. He was wearing the pink shirt with the yellow hair that was up, and he was just doing it. And every time he'd be like, oh, that's so cool. And everybody was just like, haha, this guy's cool, whatever, he's whatever. And then I was like, dude, I love your cosplay for Fairy Tale. He's like, oh my gosh, nobody's realized that I've been cosplaying this entire time and I've been just doing this. It was super cool. Super fun time. But all right, so there's those things. Another thing, in exhibit halls where they have all the dealers at, which if you've never been to a con, this will be kind of a shocker. Don't stress yourself out, but there is so much to look at, so much to do. And there's so many vendors. I want to say this year at AWA, if last time I looked, the Artist Alley, which is all like handmade goods that professionals and non-professionals do, but it's all actually like handmade, or like stylized art or photography, or essentially the stuff that you kind of be able to do on Etsy and things like that. They had, I think this year, when I looked at the site, about 500 vendors there. And then the actual like professional, like these are now actual corporations or companies that are selling anything from plushies to snacks to whatever. There's like 700 of those. So that's a lot of vendors and different things. And these aren't just always small stalls. These are sometimes huge stalls that you walk into and you walk around and you see shelves and you see books and all kinds of different things. So a few things about the exhibit hall that you should know. And I've noticed this also with not just, obviously, sorry, getting fast. I'm very excited. This is a first day vacation for me for all this. But don't stress yourself out especially if you are there for multiple days, and even if you are there for only one day. What me and my friends have always learned and kind of started doing is we will literally start from the beginning. We will walk, and we will write down. Don't take pictures, but write down the type of stalls or where they were. Write them down. The reason you don't want to take pictures, especially in the artist alley, like you can take pictures in the vendor hall, that's a little bit different. But in the artist alley, that's a lot of people's personal work. And so by taking a picture of it, it's kind of like plagiarism. It's you're stealing a piece of their work. Even if you aren't intending to use it and you're only intending to do it, they won't notice that. They'll see you taking pictures of their stuff and probably have a problem with it. If you have to take a picture to like get one of your friends to come and look at it, ask the vendor first, like, hey, can I take a picture of this item and send it to them? But don't do that, because that will also, they're hardworking. They're not trying to have their stuff stole, and it'll make it so there's not a conflict between you and the vendor. But don't stress yourself out. Enjoy just walking up and down, checking out all the different things that you want. This will do a few things. One, it will make it feel like, okay, I don't have to stress. Like, there's a lot of, because honestly, there's going to be a lot of vendors where you're not going to want stuff from. It's not your type of theme. It's not your type of media, whatever. So just enjoy, walk through, write the things down of like, hey, I want to visit this store, maybe get a few things here. Hey, I want to do this. I want to do whatever, and enjoy. But don't go through and immediately the first thing you buy, just buy, because you'll make the mistake that me and my friend made in the first year of going. And we went with a very small budget. I literally just turned 18. He was 17. We were like super excited to go, but we literally took my little pickup truck. I put a container in the back of it with jump straps that we could put our bags in, because my truck it's a single cab. There's no back seats or anything to put anything in, and I didn't have a toolbox. So we went out there super budget. We went and stayed in just a little small extended stay America hotel, and we walked up to and fro from the Comic-Con, and it was an amazing time. But since it was so new and we weren't expecting anything, as soon as we saw anything we liked, we were like, buy. And by the time we didn't even get to halfway, we were like, okay, now we gotta like hold on to money for like food. Like, whoa, like it'll go like that. So one, it'll take ease on your mind where you are getting the things that you absolutely want and love, and not just accidentally, I won't say wasting money, but using money on the things that you could have gone without versus the things that you absolutely wanted. Like, there's nothing worse than you starting to run low on budget and then realize, oh man, there's a $50 item that I wanted, but I really can't spend that right now. So enjoy, go through. There's going to be a lot of stuff that you see that is just cool anyways, even if you wouldn't buy it. It's just cool to look at and check out. So go ahead, enjoy. When you are in the vendors, especially the bigger ones where you actually walk into, you'll see all kinds of signs like, hey, don't touch, don't do whatever, but a lot of people still forget that, even on the vendors that don't have those signs. Don't grab stuff. If it's a art panel or something like that, they usually have some type of book that you can go through and see all the different art and different options or stickers. And if it's figures, whatever, but don't touch anything. Like, I'm sure there's so many different things that do actually get stolen, and I'm not accusing anybody watching this of being theft, obviously. But if you don't want to accidentally get yelled at about stealing something, even if you haven't, or just as common decency towards them, as these things are kind of fragile. You got everything from little figures like this where, they're on little pegs that if they break or bust, they won't stand up anymore. A lot of this stuff is a little fragile. So have them give it to you and be like, hey, I want this. They'll grab it. They usually wrap or do whatever for it and give it to you, but don't grab it unless you're told to grab it. And that pretty much goes for every panel. Let's see, anything else in the exhibit hall? Oh, food and drink. There is, at least in the one in Atlanta, the one in Savannah was not like that. There's usually food allowed within the exhibit hall because there's a lot of vendors who either give out food or drinks or do different things like that. Cool. That's awesome. If you're Carrying a drink, though, do not walk in the middle of the aisles where like it's very congested, because one of three things is going to happen. You're going to spill it on someone. Someone's going to bump into you, spilling on you, or then just out of just like the annoyance of it, you're going to be stuck with a cup because there's not usually trash cans like all throughout the area until you get to the other side. So now you're just holding another item when you're trying to grab other things. So just don't carry your food and drink down the hall, especially your drinks, because those will cause the biggest problems. It's one thing to drop some food item, pick it up. Liquid's a whole different story, and nothing worse will happen to you than you accidentally spill your beverage on, especially a dyed beverage, on a cosplayer. That would be the absolutely worst thing that could happen to you. One of the worst things. Also, kind of in the exhibit hall, at least at Anime Week in Atlanta, but like different cons do different things. Famous people, our celebrities, the people that we love to hear in anime, there's usually a couple of them there. This year, they're going to have a few people from the Seven Deadly Sins, including like Elizabeth's voice actress, Hawk's voice actress, sorry. They're going to have the voice of Venti from Genshin Impact. They're going to have the voice, a couple different voices, also a few bands, and a few video game voice actors as well. Again, this should be kind of like not have to be said, but for the sake of it, be respectful. I mean, you're going to be in line usually to get autographs from these people. Don't go rub and jump on them. Don't do all this stuff. Treat them with respect. You can talk to them. Cool. A lot of them are a lot more open and kind and like, well, I won't say not kind, but like they're a lot more open and expressive and like to play around with the crowd. That's cool. And there's some that are just like, oh yeah, cool. And they're going to say at their counter, they're going to do your autograph, maybe talk a little bit to you and move on. The biggest thing that I see that happens in these lines, you'll have two types of people that will either upset the actual celebrity or will upset the people in the crowd. They'll do one of two things. They will either, one, get up there and get their autograph, but then, I get it, it's somebody you really want to talk to and have all these different conversations with. But in the line where you have about 500 people in line, trying to tell them your life story or these different things is not the media to do it. Try to shout them out on Twitter or do different things like that if you want to try to ask questions, because you'd be surprised how many of those will reply. Or better yet, there are actual events and panels, at least for the Comic-Cons I've been to, where those voice actors or different celebrities will be at, where they will ask questions or answer questions. So save those thoughts and times for those where it's a more personal time with that voice person. If you're getting an autograph, go in there and be like, hey man, I really love your show or whatever. Or like if some of them do video and like camera pictures, only do those if they ask for it, because they'll have like, we do signatures or we do this. Some of them will be like, hey, we'll leave voicemails for you, or we can do a video recording for you. Obviously, you can do it with those. If they do not have that, do not just start snapping pictures at them. That falls into the same rule with the cosplayers. All right? I mean, it's just normal human decency. If somebody's not giving you their permission on something, then don't do it. All right? But you have them either try to tell their life story to this voice actor when now you got a bunch of people irritated back at them, or two, you will have people constantly try to touch. Don't try to touch the voice actor. If they want to come and give you like a side hug or like they're cool with it or whatever, that's cool. Don't do that. There's two different things about that. One, a lot of people don't know you. I mean, these people don't really know you or know me or whatever. They don't want you running up and touching up on them and just jumping them. They don't know your intentions. Maybe they know you're a fan. Maybe they don't know you're a fan. Maybe they think you're out there to kill them. Not saying it's that extreme, but don't do that. If they want to initiate or do stuff, you can talk with them or whatever. Of course, protect yourself. I'm not saying that if a voice actor comes and gropes you or does something where there have been incidents of that you shouldn't bring that up. Absolutely bring that up. That's wrong, and they shouldn't be doing that. So that's my little PSA right there. If somebody, all these things I'm saying not to do others, that is also their responsibility to you as well. You have human decency to somebody, they should give it back. So, not, and if they're famous or huge or rich or whatever, it does not matter. Everybody is equal when it comes to our rights and how we take care of each other. So, sorry. PSA, don't be a bad person, and if bad people are bad to you, straight up tell other people so you're protected. Get away from that person and get somebody. All right. Sorry. So one, they don't know you. You don't know them on a personal level like that. So don't just go and try to touch them. I've also seen it's really like super like weird. Like why are you doing that to them? Where people will be like, they'll be like doing their autograph and people like try to touch their hand or arm. Like, come on, please don't do that. That's so creepy. So don't do that. And then the other side of that again is there have been situations, just like I gave the PSA, there are situations where famous people do stuff to people and it's completely wrong. And there has been stuff on the vice versa where there's people who are the fans that have gotten celebrities in trouble for something the celebrity didn't do. So a fan like hugging around and maybe groping somebody, now putting this person in an awkward like situation where they're just like, yeah, picture or whatever. And now it super gives them a bad image. There's people who have lost their jobs. So all around, sorry, a rant. Be good people so good people could also be good, okay? You be good to them and they need to be good to you, vice versa. We'll leave that subject right there. That should, you'd think in this day and age that people would understand human decency and you'd be surprised. But that doesn't even stick with anime cons, that's the world. So be safe out there. They need to be responsible as well. Anyways, another thing about Comic Cons that you need to keep out a open mind for. Drinking water. I know that it's a crazy thing. It's something I've always had to remind myself at a Comic Con. Period. It's kind of like when you're at an amusement park. When you're in an amusement park, you're having so much fun, and you realize like you've been in the sun now and you are extremely dehydrated. Well, the difference is not only the fact, of course, you're excited and you're doing that, but the main difference is a lot of times if you're going to a Comic-Con, you're doing it over multiple days. And you're not doing it outside usually. So it doesn't really occur in your head like, hey, I need to hydrate. You're like, okay, I had water while I was at the hotel. Cool, I'm out. I guarantee you're going to either eat some form of junk food and some form of like soda or something. Like I guarantee it. Like there's not a way to get away from it at a Comic-Con. Yes, they have water fountains and water and everything, but there's just so much fun stuff. There's literally a root beer stand that goes every year to this Comic-Con. It's in the vendor hall and it's got taps. It's called Buffalo Bill's and it's just taps of different root beer or different little sodas, and you get these tin cans and you can go up, fill them, and do whatever. And I'll drink like 8 cups of those in a day, like just having the time of my life. And I'll forget to drink water. I was hoping that my buddy was going to be here to kind of talk about it. The first year when we went, we were so bad about it, he actually got kidney stones. Like it's a serious thing. You wouldn't think like, oh man, a few hours I'm in there. A few hours turns into a lot of hours, and a lot of hours without water or like actually something nourishing in your system is very, 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 very bad. So we've talked about health. We've talked about just kind of conduct in the con. Your normal actual health and personal self also need to be kept in check. So 1, stay hydrated. 2, make sure you eat, all right? And yes, you're going to eat junk food and stuff. Do not let that be the only nutrition, all right? I know it's a lot of fun. It's a lot going on, and it's very exciting. Make sure you do get yourself a good, hey, you know what? I'm going to have an actual meal at lunchtime, or, hey, at dinner, we're going to go sit down with me and my friends, and we're going to go out to a restaurant away from the con or something. Find time in your life, even if you're packing something, to make sure you actually take care of yourself. Because you will be surprised how quickly you'll neglect yourself, and then you'll be at home the next day feeling like hot garbage. hot garbage. So take care of yourself. Try to think. Another thing to mention about that is sleep. A lot of these cons, especially the one in Atlanta, which is very big, go from all morning through the night. Like they are 24 hours. So there's something going on at the con all night. Make sure you get some sleep. You'd be surprised how quickly you can burn yourself out, and there's so many different things to actually look and go through on the guide and figure out, like, hey, I want to do this panel. Hey, I want to do this rave at midnight. Hey, at 2 a.m. they're doing like F's for charity, which is like they're going to say cuss words in anime music videos. Anyways, there's so many things you can do. You can literally be there from all day. You can be there 24 hours. However, with that, if you are not sleeping or you're not staying at the con and you're staying somewhere off the convention grounds, you need to find time to sleep. Because either you will fall asleep somewhere in a panel when you're sitting there and you're trying to listen to somebody, and you'll pass out. People have to get you and make sure you're hydrated or all kinds of different stuff. So either that will happen to you and you'll pass out, or you'll try to leave super late at night or sometime in the morning and drive and put you and other people at risk. So don't do either of those things. Or, the number other three thing, just in terms of, hey, I want to have fun, I did it once where I went almost the full 24 hours and was like, okay, it's 1 in the morning at 9 o'clock. No, sorry, it was like 3 in the morning. Anyways, it's 3 in the morning at 9 o'clock. I want to be at this panel. It's one of the big panels I want to be at. Cool. I went to sleep. I did not wake up till about 2 or 4 the next day. So not only did I miss that panel, I missed several other stuff that I really wanted to do. And it was because I just didn't want to stop. I just want to keep going. I was going to panels just because I wanted to go to panels. Like, it wasn't even panels that like I had to be at. It wasn't even animes that like I knew. Like, I was just going to go. Give yourself a mental check of like, hey, hold up. We're now at, it's this time. We really don't need to be at these. Let's take a break. Let's step away. Go get some sleep. Get refreshed and come back for the stuff that we really, really want to be at. Okay? So, absolutely take care of yourself. Please, please, please take care of yourself. And that's pretty much it. I mean, I'm really excited to go. I'm really hoping that I maybe run into a few people there. That'd be cool. Ran into a few people last year, and all we had last year was a few music videos. So the fact that there's always so many people, there's always the chance that I get to run into some people and get to hang out and nerd out. But yeah, I'm really excited. I will be hosting a Actually game. There's going to be surprises. Actually, good old Sasuke here won't be in the next video because he's going to be given out as a prize. So I'm really excited. If you guys are watching this and going to be at Anime Week in Atlanta, I'll see you there. Maybe even tonight because it's Thursday. So I'm really looking forward to it. I'm going to be posting some video and photo coming up on the YouTube channel about the different congoers who did that. So that will actually be the next video. As far as the podcast goes, it will return again in 2 weeks. But it'll be on a different subject. So we'll get jumping back into the normal anime trends and different things going on. But yeah, I hope to see you guys out there. And if you're not at this Comic-Con, I hope that you get to go check out a Comic-Con local near you in the near future because it's a lot of fun. And I know you guys would have fun. Be good people. So good people can also be good. And if they're bad people, sue them. You guys have a good day. And let's Taku Taku out.